Valdez. I'm joined with Moonglade, and we had a very close one there between KT Rolster and CJ Entis. KT Rolster just barely able to edge that one out before the ace match, 3-1.
Those were some fantastic games, Valdez. And now we have even more fantastic games with a Zerg in every single matchup. Starting with a ZVZ, we got a PVZ, then back to ZVZ, and then we got Life vs Marine King. That's icing on the cake.
Yep, all three Zerg matchups, two ZVZs, ZVT and a ZVP. It's Australian Day gift.
Yep, the Australia Day gift.
Yep.
From Pro League to everyone out there.
This was definitely 100% done on purpose, especially for Moonglade. But taking a look at StarTale-yoe, they started off really strong, I believe, with a 3-1 record. They have lost their last game, and they do have that -2 win, or rather indicator. Not the best in the world.
And there's MVP, 2 wins, 3 losses, -5. Got a lot of catching up to do if they want to make it to the playoffs. So I don't know if they can do it, Valdez.
It's going to be hard. I believe they actually have to win the two games that they do have left, which is hard to do in the first place. But even then, it could come down to a tiebreaker as to whether or not they will make it. If they do win their next 2, they will end the season, or rather the round, with a 4-3 record. But of course, they will have to get through StarTale-yoe first. And just to put more emphasis on this once again, we have a Zerg in every matchup because StarTale-yoe is playing 4 Zergs. That, like, rarely ever happens.
It pretty much doesn't happen these days. Where Zerg is at, it's kind of hard to believe. But, yeah, StarTale-yoe is just so stacked with fantastic Zergs that they've been running a lot of Zergs every week now. And we are starting off with Curious versus Losira. This should be one of the most exciting ones, I feel. Me personally, looking at it from a ZVZ perspective and a Zerg fan myself, both players playing very well at the moment. Curious kind of coming back onto the scene in recent times. Kind of disappeared for a while, but has been playing well. You know, I believe he won his last match, or at least he won
I believe so. He did win a ZVZ, but Losira has won too. And I believe that one is going to be very, very close. The predictions for that one are pretty interesting. I won't spoil it until we get to it. But just taking a look at the teams over here, we do have Legend, the coach of StarTale-yoe. He will also be observing for IEM Taipei.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Pretty cool that they're grabbing him as well.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've gone over it once, but we'll go over it once again. StarTale-yoe versus MVP, Curious versus Losira, Pet versus Hero, Leenock versus Departure, and Life versus Marine King. Which do you feel is the most interesting map out of all of these?
I think the Life versus Marine King would probably be the fun one to watch because they're both fan favorites. Life obviously playing amazing in recent times. Marine King having a bit of trouble. Actually took a week off last week, and that was the week that Prime won. Oh, sorry, MVP won.
Yeah.
Funnily enough. And so I guess that'd be the one that I look forward to the most. But getting there is also going to be pretty interesting. Leenock versus Departure, I kind of feel highly favored in Leenock's favor, but it is ZVZ. Anything can happen. We even saw Terror take down Biel in recent times.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that can happen, Valdez, anything can happen.
Anything can happen in that matchup. Even more volatile than the PvP matchup, but that is, of course, up to debate. I feel like Departure might just go with an aggressive build, try to knock out Leenock pretty quickly. I don't see him standing in a roach fight against Leenock or in any sort of long ZVZ at all, but we'll have to get to that one. It is going to be on Merry-Go-Round. It's going to be a pretty interesting map for ZVZ. Pet versus Hero. Neither of those players really playing too much these days. Pet coming out for his first Pro League game. That one's going to be interesting as well. But right now, we are going to jump into the coach interview with the two coaches.
감독님, 저번에 미디어데이 때 거론되었던 문세미 선수와 김가영 선수와의 대결이 성사되지 않았는데 어떻게 된 거죠?
So everyone wanted to watch.
두 경기가 되게 중요한 경기여서 지금 어떻게 보면은 김가영 선수와 문세미
a
선수가
sure match
지금 만나는
with StarTale
추후에 뭐 3라운드
between Aphrodite and their female player.
그 후에 만나서 그때 매치
but they could not play in this round. Hopefully,
yeah, he says it's probably not going to happen this round, but maybe in future rounds.
I get it now.
Okay. 이유가 좀 문세미 선수를 믿지 않으시는 건가요?
그게 아니고요. 문세미 선수도 어떻게 보면은
눈치 보지 마시고요.
저희 팀 항상 얘기 드렸잖아요. 그 저희 팀이 돼지 팀이라고. 마지막
The female
막내
pro
돼지
gamer.
팀인데 저희는 항상 히든 카드로.
He's saying that she.
네, 막내 돼지의 활약을
The baby pig of his team.
보도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 같은 이유로 김가영 선수가 출전하지 않은 건가요?
But maybe she'll play in the next round, not this round.
오늘도 저녁에 단호박
So they're talking about female players on their
단호박
team.
컨셉이신데,
Yeah, the one Taiwanese player, the semi.
그래도
I think
가영
possibly.
선수가
Not exactly sure about the
이긴
name,
적이
but
있어서
they do have a female player, of course.
자신이 있지
플레이오프
않-
걸려 있는데 내기에는 솔직히 부담감이 커서 그렇게 된
So
거예요.
Aphrodite did win
네,
against a female player in the past, so she must be pretty confident for that matchup if it does happen.
플레이오프 진출 자신 있으신가요?
She feels like she can win anything with that
우선
confidence.
저희 팀도 되게 많이 걱정했지만 저희 뭐 친구들이나 제 지인들이 많이 걱정해 주더라고요. 저희 뭐 이번 오늘만 이기면은 KT 전에 뭐 에이스 결정전에서 3대2로 지더라도 저희가 올라가는 걸로 알고 있거든요. 저는.
So if we get a win today, I think we'll have a good chance to get to the playoff. This is a very important match
네,
for
꼭
us.
이긴다고 하는 MVP 죄송합니다. ST-Yoe 팀에 왔어 MVP는 자신 있으신가요?
아, 저희도 떨어지면
So how do you feel about today's match, Joya?
확인한 순간 이겼다고 확신했어요.
It's
네,
also a
두분
very
싸우시기
important
전에
match for
인터뷰
MVP
끝내도록
today.
하겠습니다. 과연 어떤 팀이 플레이오프 진출권을 획득하게
And when we saw
될까요?
the entry for StarTale today, we felt very confident.
아,
So some confident words
이
coming out of
선정도-
Joya.
굉장히 멋진 모습이었어요. 네, 팀원들을 아끼는 모습.
So that sign said to Kanata 22:30, 10:30. I'm not sure about that. What exactly that means, but
Interesting interview from both coaches. My translations were a little off that time.
yeah,
Valdez.
I got your back, Moonglade.
Thank
I'm
you,
with
man.
you on this
Thank
one.
you, dude. That was a tough one, man. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the MVP coach is confident going into this because I look at the matchups and I'm like, why?
I don't see it either.
Why?
I actually started to laugh when I heard that as well.
Yeah, Departure versus Lena. Sure, no.
You're just like no,
No,
nope.
Losira versus Curious, I will give to MVP. Yes. Pet versus Hero, possibly.
Could happen.
I mean, Hero has. We'll get to Hero later, but he has been looking better in the online sort of scene of things. We have not seen him play here at all or much. I can't remember exactly.
I think he came out once.
He might have lost.
Yeah, he came out against a Protoss and lost. So that's not really much to go off on.
Yeah, and then you got Life versus Marine King. Unless Marine King has somehow like really turned it on, like used his time off to really practice hard.
I don't think so. Unless we see him do the same thing that TY did. I was actually really impressed by TY when he came out in his interview and he said, I've been practicing 13 to 14 hours every single day to actually ramp up my current shape because he was actually losing a lot of games as a Terran player for his team. So unless Marine King does some of the same, I don't expect that he'll be able to win that one.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we have some fantastic music playing. So we get into our introduction of Curious. This is one of those old school songs, right, Valdez?
Yeah, man. Some of these players just pick the weirdest songs. We
even-
actually don't even have a name for this song. That's how old it is. It doesn't even have a name.
1-5 in Pro League in total, 1-2 this season. 1-1 versus Zerg.
Yeah, I don't really support that downwards arrow. I mean, he's not playing at his best, but
It doesn't really warrant it. He hasn't lost that much in
yeah,
recent times.
it's just the fact that he's 1-4 in his recent 5 games. But you know, that doesn't really. I mean, half of those games are from last season. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, he is going up against Losira. He is 3-1 so far. He's got that upwards yellow arrow, and he's 2-0 against Zerg. He's playing super well recently.
Playing super fantastically. He beat Armani and Biol in his DVZs. And I'm so happy, Valdez, that he chose Losira over Kongho because that name was not nearly as cool.
Oh yeah, Losira is a very cool name. Very happy he picked that one as well. Definitely agreeing with you on that one, Moonglade. And Losira, known to be quite twitchy in the booth. He shakes around a lot. You can see his chair in the background. It's shaking.
He's got the sickest APM of just about any pro gamer out there. If you actually look at his fingers one day when he's out of LAN, you will understand how crazy it actually is.
Yeah, one of the fastest pro gamers in the business. Definitely check him out if you get a chance. But guys, we are going to jump into game number 1 between StarTale-yoe Flash Wolves and MVP. It's going to be Curious versus Losira and a ZVZ to start things off. Oh, baby, the cheers. Up here at 1 o'clock in the red, Zerg player. It is Curious.
Here at the 9 o'clock position, we have the Zerg Losira making a comeback, playing very well in recent times, especially against Zerg. Let's see if he can do it again today. Whoa. Is that Losira?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
This is... the question is this Faker or is this Kanata? I don't know, actually. So, I cannot answer that question for you, fan.
And no early shenanigans from either player so far, Valdez. None of that 9 pool, none of that 10 pool business. No cheese. We're going to have a clean game. A gentleman's agreement, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, the drone timings are off. Maybe someone made a different Overlord timing. Not exactly sure what happened. But
one
seems to all line up at the end.
Yeah. I mean,
like you were saying, nothing too crazy here.
Yeah, I actually wasn't paying attention to Curious's base. Maybe he went for something a little weird, a little different. Maybe the Overlord trick. We are going to see Curious kind of get a little bit of an advantage early on with scouting. His Overlord is actually going directly towards the 9 o'clock position where we do see Losira. He will scout out that 15 hatch ASAP. And, you know, he'll have like that little bit of extra knowledge, which is going to help out when he chooses what build he wants to go next. Whether it be gasless, whether it be early gas, whether it be super greed, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's actually hugely important because off the back of this, Losira doesn't know if a hatch is coming down, whereas Curious knows exactly what's going on. So we see a safer pool out of Losira, whereas Curious, he makes 2 drones, he makes a gas, and the pool is only coming down this late.
Yeah, so it's a nice little advantage to start things off. Nothing too game-changing. We haven't seen a gas go up yet for Losira. Maybe he'll choose to go gasless. I don't think so, considering there's an Overlord already in his base, and it really will put you at a bit of a disadvantage if it gets scouted that easy. And there goes the gas now. Because if you get scouted early and they see gasless, they can go for the earliest third hatch that you can imagine, because they know they're completely safe from any sort of like timing attack from speedlings or banelings or anything like that.
Yeah, very good point. Well, we're going to have to wait and see how this game lines up here. Just going into the mid-game. Gas just pop up for Losira. Going to throw in 3 drones right away. And 2 lings made here, whereas...
Just 2.
Yep. See how many Curious makes.
Hopefully none. He could make 2. All right.
Okay.
He's going to make 2 just so he can see if there's going to be anything else sort of coming into play after the initial gas. It's always a smart idea to have some Zerglings on the map just so you can poke in, see if there is like a swell of Zerglings being made. There's a spine crawl at the front, kind of gives away if it's going to be more of a defensive sort of style from your opponent. It's going to be a very fast lair is another way to go about it. If it's going to be one of those crazy speed, like fast Mutalisks or Roaches, it's always important.
With that small advantage on the gas for Curious, he's able to get that speed way ahead of Losira. And Losira, actually, he's had 100 gas here for a while, but he does not get speed, saving it for now.
What does it mean, Valdez?
What does it mean, Munglid? You tell me.
Well, at this point, I'm not entirely sure. He's really banking it up. I would hate to see if he forgot it. I mean, you need 100 gas to go lair. You need 150 to go speed and Baneling Nest.
Well, we have a spine coming down at Losira.
1 spine.
It may just be a lair. But, I mean, he's banking so much gas. He's already up to 250.
He's making a Baneling Nest. No, it's Evolution Chamber, sorry. 2 Evos. Okay. I wonder if we're going to see 1/1 Lings from this. I mean, that can happen. And this is a pretty cool style as well. If you get on the map with that early enough, you can trade versus Roaches incredibly efficiently. You can kill Muta players. And I feel like it might be Valdez.
Ooh. Nice pick there. Gets the creep tumor.
There's that +1 melee. We should see Carapace in a second as well.
There it is.
Boom. Bang. That's how it's done. And let's wait and see. The next step is Curious going to be going for Roaches. Will he be going for Mutas? Mutas means you can kind of straight up die to a 1/1 Ling sort of aggression on the map. A lot of run-bys, and Mutas have a hard time killing them all before they kill your drones. Obviously, if you're trying to fight that with your own Lings, they're going to be completely disadvantaged against 1-1 Lings.
Yeah. Both Curious and Losira taking their 2 natural gases. Going to start ramping up that gas gain. Curious able to scout that, but not the second gas in there. He's got to move that Overlord just a bit. And we finally see an upgrade coming out of Curious. He is going for the ranged upgrade as well as the lair. A bit ahead of Losira, who gets it just now.
It's going to be up to how greedy we're going to see Curious be is the next sort of step in this sort of game where timing is everything, scouting is everything. These Lings will not find a way in just yet. No creep spread either from Losira, so he's really banking a lot that this 1-1 Ling timing can do a lot of work.
I think it definitely can, because if you look at the front, you see what Curious is seeing. He's seeing 1 Evo Chamber and 1 Roachborn. He doesn't know what's in the front, in the main base rather, and he only sees a wall. He knows there's no third base. That can give him some information.
It definitely gives him a lot. The one thing is going to be how many roaches are being made from Curious. We are seeing pretty much nothing but roach production at this point, because he has safely droned up his third base to 8 drones on minerals and a gas. So he's in a perfect position to do nothing but make roaches and then see what happens next.
Well, here we go. Tons of Lings out on the map.
And this is more than enough roaches, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as they don't get completely surrounded
for support.
Yeah, as long as they get completely surrounded, they should be okay. And we are seeing more and more Lings kind of gather up, and it's going to be up to where the roaches choose to fight. Is it kind of like, are they spread out? Are they going to be huddled together in a ramp of some sort? Will be perfect against the Zerglings. And so far, Losira not finding a way in.
So this has got to be pretty bad for Losira, I'm assuming, right? I mean, he has grabbed map control here, but his third base is way behind.
Yeah, it's not a good place.
He's only getting a Spire now.
Yeah, he's getting a very late Spire, which is kind of interesting because, I mean, when the third base is already up and there's creep spread, you can put down spores everywhere, and the mutas aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. We see 5 spine crawlers out of Losira.
Yeah, he's terrified of a counterattack, it seems. But I think we're just going to see Curious go into a very defensive play. He looks like he's going to try and just max out on roaches and go for sort of a steamroll sort of approach to this style, which isn't a bad idea considering how late the third base is for Losira. He is in a complete sort of advantage economically. Compositionally, he is as well. For the moment.
Yeah. I just took a small look at the supplies at the moment. Curious up right now, 55 supply, increasing that lead by the minute here. We finally do see 10 mutas out on the way, and they're going to have to do a ton of damage.
They could probably pillage one base. Like, they get a chance to destroy, like, one base. They get a chance to take out all the drones. And we are seeing a lot of spine crawlers at this natural, which is going to help out so much against this massive roach counterattack. Mutas are out in time as well. While this is all happening, Losira is going for a counterattack on the third, trying to wipe out all the roaches defending it.
He's got a nice surround in there, but look at this. Right at the front, he's got a ton of spine crawlers, but that is a lot of roaches. They are very heavily upgraded here, or rather, not that upgraded. They do have the +1. They are doing a lot of damage here, though.
Oh, I mean, they might actually not be able to do too much economic damage. We're only seeing 2 drones go down for Losira at this point. Still 3 spine crawlers left, plus all the mutilas. Same time, we did see the counterattack with mass Zerglings do get wiped out. And Curious throwing away a surprising amount of roaches. That food really evened up at this point.
Yeah, that was actually a bad call by me. That actually didn't do, like, any damage at all.
Well, it had the potential, but there was just so many spine crawlers. And he had enough Zerglings to kind of buff them, sort of stopping them running by the spines. And the mutas really helped clean up as well.
Yeah, I mean, all he was really able to do is take out, like, 3 or 4 spines, maybe a couple of drones, like you were mentioning. Losira, he now has evened up that drone count. He's going to be able to saturate that third base finally.
He's even going to even up the upgrade disadvantage very shortly as well, Valdez. I mean, looking at it, he's already upgrading +2 range, which, you know, surprisingly isn't that far behind Curious's. Considering he went for Ling upgrades beforehand, I mean, he's doing all right for himself. He transitioned very nicely. He really evened up supplies. In fact, he even took a lead in supplies because those roaches did nothing. Well, at least a little bit of economic damage happened with that Zergling counterattack, and he lost a lot more roaches at that third base as well. Now we're seeing the map control completely gained from Losira, so he's safe enough to drone up completely on his third base, going for both gases, going into Infestors with his 2-2 roach upgrades.
Yeah. Do see the Glands upgrade coming out here for Curious a bit earlier, so it looks like he will be going for Infestors as well. Going to be pretty useful against the Mutas if he gets a nice Infestor fungal hit there. Could be nice. Also good for Roach versus Roach battles. Add in a couple of Infestors, get some nice fungals down, keep them in place, do some extra damage.
Yeah, generally you'll want to go for Infestors if you're fighting against the kind of Mutatech, because if you go straight into Hydras, they will go into Banelings and kill you with a pretty easily, so long as they have the kind of the army supply for it. So you really need to go into Infestors off 3 base, then go into Hydras at a little bit later point to make it, just a solid sort of well-rounded army that won't fall to Banelings anytime soon. Looks like he's going to cancel the Satchery as well. He's making stuff happen, not getting the Infestor, but he knows they're out, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, he's getting his own Infestors now. Pathogen Glands about halfway done at the moment. And both players just kind of sitting back, teching up, and getting their economies rolling. Not doing too much attacking right now. Losira just being annoying with the Mutas. Looking to come over here towards third base, supporting the Mutas with the Lings.
Look at that supply advantage for Losira. Look how far it is switched just from that counterattack doing work, and the attack from Curious just doing absolutely nothing. 50 supply lead for Losira. Moving across the map now. Has a great window of opportunity to end this game now.
Definitely does. A couple of attacks being going for here by Curious, going for the Infestors and the Hydras. Here we go. Some Lings trying to come in. The Mutas trying to snipe those Infestors. Pretty decent fungal there, but look at this. The Roach is coming in the front with 2-2 upgrades.
Completely out of position is Curious from those Mutalisks, and now he's fighting at the bottom of the ramp in a Convex. This is a horrible situation, and I think we're going to see Losira close this out, Valdez.
Yeah, that's got to be it, man. That is just way too many heavily upgraded Roaches. The Mutas doing their job. He's going to be able to split up here, coming at the third base, and there's really nothing that Curious can do at this point.
GG. What a frustrating game for Curious. Man, I would be breaking the keyboard if I lost that.
That's a hard one to stomach for sure, Moonblade. But as you expected here, Losira is able to take the first win for MVP. A good start. Good way to get that momentum rolling.
Well, they did say they were feeling pretty confident coming into this match. So they're showing it in that first game. They got to follow this up there with a pretty interesting match between Pet and Hero. I would say it's pretty even considering both players just have not done much recent times.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Hero stream a bit, and he likes to do some special tactics, but usually against Terran, he likes to storm drops, likes to do some funky stuff, but not sure if he's really going to bring that out here today. Maybe he doesn't really like to show his real strategies on stream, possibly.
That's
here
always
you see Curious.
Yeah, bit of a disappointing game from him.
Yeah, man. I really miscalled that fight, actually, when he went into the natural against all those spine crawlers. I feel like he almost just threw his entire army away into all those spines.
Well, he essentially did. I think if he had made it to run by the spine crawlers, if there wasn't just that handful of Lings kind of blocking everything, he could have definitely got through and done some damage to the main base before the Mutas could clean them up. I think that might have been his idea, instead of just trying to bulldoze all the spine crawlers, which is very costly.
Did he actually not get the scout on the third base also? Because that third base was just sitting there. There were no spine crawlers there.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if there was a queen.
That's also another way to look at it. He could have canceled it, but then he loses a ton of Roaches to the Mutas. And I think he really just wanted to do some critical economic damage with that Roach run by, Roach attack.
Well, that one decision seeming to make it the worst game for Curious possibly that we have seen. Losira really taking him out pretty convincingly there from that point on in the game. So Losira getting the first win.
Losira still doing well in ZVZ. That's three times he's won now in ZVZ this season.
That might actually be the best ZVZ record we have in Pro League.
For now, at least.
Yeah.
For now, at least. Let's see how far he can go. I mean, Losira's only been back for a short time. We didn't see much of him last year.
Of course, yeah.
I think he might have just been doing school last year. I'm not entirely sure. He really I
really have no idea either. I don't know where he's been.
I think he might have.
Seems to be back for now, at least in this matchup. So
let's hope he sticks around this time.
Yeah. Sky, I wouldn't be surprised if they just continue to send him out trying to snipe Zergs. Just get a bunch of those wins. Once you get 3-0 in any matchup, it's like, oh, okay, is this guy's